Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yesterday we discussed some of those aspects that break the wudu of a person. So continuing with the same chapter, number 6, becoming insane. If a person loses his sanity, becomes insane, immediately the wudu of a person is nullified. Number 7, being so intoxicated that one does not walk straight but staggers. Number 8, laughing aloud in Salaah. In regards to laughing, there are 3 stages. The one stage is where a person, he just smiles in Salaah. So if a person smiles in Salaah, it doesn't affect the wudu of a person, it does not affect the Salaah of a person. That is the first stage. Then you go to the second stage. The second stage is where there is a very soft laugh, like a giggle, but very soft. So only the person performing Salaah, he'll be able to hear it, and maybe the person that is next to him, he's able to hear it as well. So that will nullify the Salaah of a person. It won't nullify the wudu of a person. And the third stage that he's talking about here is where a person laughs aloud. So here, maybe a few people around him, they're able to hear. So wudu also will be nullified and Salaah also will be nullified. So laughing aloud in Salaah. Number 9, when the male and female sexual organs touch, even if there is no discharge. This is regards to just touching. No penetration, this will nullify the wudu of a person. If there's penetration, then ghusl becomes wajib. Number 10, flowing of blood or pus from any part of the body. If blood or pus does not move from the place of the wound, wudu will not break. So say for example, a person, he got injured a little bit and the blood became exposed. You can see the blood, but there's no movement of the blood. It remained intact within the wound. So in this case, the wudu of a person does not break. Similarly, if clots of blood come out of the nose while blowing it, wudu will not break. Wudu will only break if the blood is in the fluid state. If a person, he blows his nose and clots come out, so your wudu won't break in this condition. But if it is flowing blood that comes out, then the wudu of a person will be broken. See, if a pimple has to burst in the eye, then the wudu will only break if the fluid comes out of the eye. As long as the fluid remains within the eye, the wudu of a person will not break. D, if the saliva is reddish because of blood, wudu will break. So if a person, he's removed the saliva from his mouth and he looks into the saliva, there's more blood and there is less saliva, so there's more reddish, the wudu of a person will break. Similarly, if a person is fasting and there's more blood than the saliva and he had to swallow the saliva. Normally if you swallow the saliva, the fast doesn't break. But if you have to swallow the saliva where the blood is more, then the fast of a person is also invalid. If the blood is so little that redness cannot be seen in the saliva, wudu will not break. If blood appears on a toothpick, wudu will not be broken if the effect of the blood cannot be seen in the saliva. So it can be seen on the toothpick, but now you need to remove the saliva to see how much of blood there is. If there is less blood, then the wudu is fine. If there's more blood in the saliva, then the wudu will be broken. E, fluid from a paining ear will break the wudu even if there is no sore or pimple in the ear. So any fluid that comes out of the ear, but on condition that the ear had pain, you're experiencing pain, that will break the wudu of a person. Water which flows from the eyes because of the eyes paining will break the wudu. So even from the eyes, if there's pain and water comes out, wudu breaks. Liquid that comes out of the eye while yawning will not break the wudu. F, extraction of blood will break the wudu unless it is so little that it would not have flowed out of the wound if it came out itself. So for example, a person went for blood transfusion and blood was removed. So obviously that is going to nullify the wudu because so much of blood comes out there. But let's say a person, he's testing his sugar and he pricks himself. So when he pricks himself, the blood that comes out, just a drop sometimes come out. And if that drop, it would not flow. It would not flow if you had not wiped it onto the strip, onto the testing strip. If you left it there, it wouldn't have flown. Then in that case, the wudu of a person doesn't break. But let's say so much of blood came out when you pricked yourself that the blood would have flown. Then in this instance, the wudu of a person will be invalid. So it's better for a person here to be a little cautious If a person pricks himself, sometimes we're not sure whether so much has come out that it would have flown or it wouldn't have flown. Better is always to make a fresh wudu and then perform salah. Note, a doubt will not break wudu. A person has a doubt. Have I got wudu? Haven't I got wudu? Have I got wudu? Haven't I got wudu? So he's got no certainty. So there's a principle which the fuqaha have written. Al-yaqeenu la yazulu bishak. When a person has conviction of something, because of doubt, that conviction is not destroyed, it is not removed. So the conviction still remains. So in other words, now a person knows, I made wudu. But did the wudu remain or not? That's what he is doubting. So you know with certainty you made wudu, your wudu is intact. If you know with certainty your wudu broke, then your wudu will be regarded as broken. Only when one is convinced that his wudu is broken, then it will be regarded so. If one is not certain, then there is no need to repeat the wudu. Continuing with the Masaa'il of Salaah. जब सुबह हो जाए और फजर का वक्त आ जाए तो 2 रकात सुन्नत और 2 रकात फ़र्ज के सिवा और कोई नफिल नमाज पढ़ना दुरुस्त नहीं, यानी मकरूह है. When it is now Subah Sadiq has come to an end and the time of Fajr has now entered, then a person can only perform the 2 fard of Fajr and the 2 sunnat of Fajr. Besides these 2 salah, it is not permissible for a person to perform any other nafil namaz. It is makruh to do so. Albatta qaza namaze parna और सजदा की आयत पर सजदा करना दुरुस्त है. However, a person can read qaza namaz and he can, if he read the ayat of sajda, then he can make sajda. अगर फजर की नमाज पढ़ने में सूरज निकल आया तो नमाज नहीं हुई. If the sun had risen whilst a person was performing fajr, then his fajr salah will become invalid. So let's say for example a person, he started his fajr salah maybe 2 minutes before sunrise, and he was performing his salah, he came right up to the point of tashahhud, he was reading maybe his tashahhud, and the sun rose, finished, the salah became invalid. So he'll have to start the salah all over again, that 12 to 15 minutes after sunrise, now he must read the fajr namaz again. So if you're reading fajr and the sun rises, the entire salah becomes invalid. Whereas this is not the case when it comes to Asr Salah. When Asr Salah, a person started in the makruh time, and whilst performing Salah, let's say he came to the last rakat or he came to Tashahhud, and the sun set, then also his Salah will be discharged. So in the Asr Salah, it will be discharged, but in the Fajr Salah, it will not be discharged. Suraj mein roshni aa jane ke baad qaza pare. In this instance, after sunrise, a person will have to make qaza of that Fajr namaz because it was invalid. और अगर असर की नमाज पढ़ने में सूरज डूब गया तो नमाज हो गई, कज़ा न पड़े. But while performing asr salah, if the sun set, namaz is done. There's no need to make qaza in the asr namaz. Although the salah will be makruh, but the salah will be discharged. Isha की नमाज पढ़ने से पहले सो रहना makruh है. To continue to sleep before the Isha namaz is makruh. Before Isha namaz, a person after Maghrib he wants to lie down a little bit. So this is makruh. A person, he shouldn't sleep before the Isha namaz. Why? It could happen that a person goes to sleep and now he doesn't wake up for Isha namaz because he's tired, so he's going to go into a deep sleep and he's going to miss Isha. So it's makruh to sleep before Isha namaz. Namaz par ke sona chahiye. A person should read namaz. Read your Isha namaz first and then retire to bed. लेकिन कोई मरज से या सफ़र से बहुत थका मांदा हो और किसी से कह दे कि मुझको नमाज के वक्त जगा देना और वो दूसरा वादा कर ले तो सो रहना दुरुस्त है. But if a person, he is feeling sick or because of suffer, because of undertaking a journey, he is very, very tired, and he tells somebody that, look, wake me up for Isha Salah. And that person, he promises, no, you don't worry, you go to sleep, I'll wake you up for Isha Salah. So in that case, it is permissible for a person to sleep. Why? Because there somebody has taken the responsibility to wake you up for Isha Salah, so it will be fine. Namaz ki sharton ka bayan. This is in regards to the conditions of Salah. Namaz shuru karne se pehle kai cheeze wajib hai. Before commencing Salah, there are certain things that are wajib, that are obligatory in Salah. These are the requisites of Namaz. If these are found, then the Salah is valid. If they are not found, then a wajib has been missed out, the Salah will not be valid. Agar wuzu na ho, to wuzu kare. If a person doesn't have wudu, then he has to make wudu. Nahane ki zururat ho, to ghusl kare. If a person is in a state of impurity, janabat, he has to take a bath, then he has to go and take a bath before performing salah. Badan par ya kapre par कोई नजासत लगी हो तो इसको पाक करे. If there is any impurity that is on the clothing of a person, that is on the body of a person, then he has to wash that out, that he has to clean out. But if a person didn't know, for example, he didn't know he performed salah, and after performing salah he found maybe there was a little bit of blood on his clothing. But if it is less than the amount of a dirham, that is approximately the palm, the size of the palm, less than the amount of a dirham, then also the salah of a person is valid. But if a person saw that before namaz, he saw that there is blood, but there's a small speck that is there maybe, then also it is better that he washes it out. Although if he read the namaz with it, the salah will be valid because it's less than a dirham, but he should wash it out. जिस जगह नमाज पढ़ती हो वो भी पाक होनी चाहिए. The place where you performing salah, so we have to be clean, and the place, the area where we performing salah, that area, that place also has to be clean. There mustn't be any napaki in that particular area. Like if that area was impure, if a person stands there when there's napaki there, his salah is not going to be valid because the area also has to be clean. फकत मुंह और दोनों हथेली और दोनों पैर के सिवा सर से पैर तक सारा बदन खूब दांक लेवे. That besides the face and both the palms and the feet, besides these parts of the body, it is necessary for a woman to cover the entire body. So a woman, she is allowed to expose her hands, her palms in salah, her face she is allowed to expose in salah, and her feet she can expose in salah. But besides these three parts, every other part of the body must be covered. So let's say, for example, a lady, she's got her scarf, her burqa on, and she's performing salah. Now while she's performing salah, a quarter of the ear, just a quarter of the ear becomes exposed. Her salah becomes invalid for the duration of 3 subhanallah. That is 1 rukn. 3 subhanallah is regarded as 1 rukn. So for the duration of 1 rukn, if a quarter of a limb would supposed to be covered in salah becomes exposed, the salah becomes invalid. For example, our satar is from the navel to the knee, minimum. Right? So now let's say a person, he came with his t-shirt and he got his jeans or bermuda or whatever it might be, and he's performing salah. So in salah now, his t-shirt lifted. His t-shirt lifted in the back, and it happens sometimes. So when the t-shirt lifted, we need to see that count, look at the size of that particular limb. And then we'll see if a quarter of it had lifted whilst he was in sajda, which is a duration of 3 subhana rabbiyal a'la, 3 subhanallah is found. So his namaz becomes invalid. So a person has to be very careful of this, that a woman, she should be covered properly. And the burqa that she is wearing, the clothing that she is wearing, the burqa that she is wearing, it mustn't even be transparent or semi-transparent. You must not be able to see the color of the skin under that burqa. It must be of such a dark color that the skin is not visible to a person. Qibla ki taraf muh kare. When a person wants to perform salah, he must face in the direction of the qibla. Right? Where sometimes certain musallas, certain places, they make a mistake. Sometimes they don't get the correct direction of the qibla. In calculating, sometimes they go a little off. So many a time we get the queries coming in where they say that now after some years we have realized that we are maybe 5 degrees, 15 degrees off from the qibla. So is the salah valid? So the fuqaha have written, you can go, if a person goes unknowingly, this is if he makes a mistake, and he went off by 45 degrees, up to 45 degrees is fine, your namaz will be valid. But the moment you go over 45, your salah is invalid now. So if any place they went over 45 degrees and they read namaz like this for 1 year, for example, so for 1 year the salah wasn't valid. They have to read the namaz all over again because the condition was not found, which you have to face in the direction of the qibla. That is why the toilet also, when the toilet is built, we must build it more than 45 degrees away from the qibla. More than 45 degrees. So, because that 45 degrees concession that we are given, so to say that is considered as qibla. If your namaz is valid, up to 45 degrees off from the actual qibla, it is valid. So that is like qibla. So we're supposed to go over 45 degrees, the toilet should be built. So there is no doubt also of us facing in the direction of the qibla. जिस नमाज को पढ़ना चाहती है, इसकी नीयत यानी दिल से इरादा करे. When a person, whichever namaz he intends performing, then a person should make niyat from the heart, that this is the namaz I'm reading. Like we came for Zohar, we're going to read Zohar now. So in the heart, we must have niyat, I'm reading Zohar namaz now behind the Imam. Asr time, a person must have niyat. Zohar, Asr namaz behind the Imam. It doesn't have to be verbal, that is for a beginner. But a person must have the niyat in the heart. Waqt aane ke baad namaz pare. A person should read namaz after the time enters. After the actual time of Salah enters. Before the time, if a person reads Salah, the Salah is not going to be valid. Because the time of namaz hasn't come in. The time of Zohar comes in after Zawal. So if a person just before Zawal, he read Zohar namaz, the Zohar is invalid. You have to read it again after the time comes in. ये सब चीज़ें नमाज के लिए शर्त है. These are all the conditions for namaz. अगर इसमें से एक चीज भी छूट जाएगी तो नमाज न होगी. If any of these are missed out, then the salah of a person will not be valid. So all the requisites have to be found for the salah of a person to be valid. We'll just do one last masla. बारीक तंजेब या बुक या जाली वगैरह का बहुत बारीक दो पट्टा और कर नमाज पढ़ना दुरुस्त नहीं है. Here is saying, the masla is saying that a very thin dopatta, the burqa, the scarf that the lady wears to perform salah, it is made of net or something of that nature. He said to perform salah with this is incorrect. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Continuing with Anwaar Salaah. Yesterday we had discussed up to the point that if a person, he performs Salah, his complete namaz he is performing, but he is reading it with negligence, unmindfulness, a person is performing Salah, then although he would be absolved of his responsibility, but such a person has been cursed in the Quran Sharif, where Allah Ta'ala says, فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ, woe, destruction to that person that performs Salah. So we're performing Salah, but Allah Ta'ala is saying destruction to that person. It is mentioned that person that just performs his Salah haphazardly, that person, his Salah will be like a dirty rag, and that will be taken and it will be thrown at the face of the person. And the person will be told, ضَيَّعَكَ اللَّهُ كَمَا ضَيَّعْتَنِي, may Allah Ta'ala destroy you. The namaz will say, may Allah destroy you as you have destroyed me. That without concentration, without performing all the postures of Salah properly, you just came and you performed Salah, you destroyed me, so may Allah Ta'ala destroy, Allah Ta'ala save us. So Salah has to be done properly. लिहाजा हज़रात आरिफीन ने बारू नमाज पढ़ने के तरीके भी बयान फरमाए हैं. It is for this reason that the arifin, those people that recognize Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, they have shown us the way how to perform a Salah that has life in it. When we go to the Masaa'il, to the pious people, you'll find everywhere they will teach us properly how to perform Salah. That how the postures of Salah has to be made, how to concentrate in our Salah, all this is taught by the Buzrugs, by the pious people. जिनमें एक बहुत ही मुबारक और मुअस्सिर हज़रत सैयद अहमद शहीद रहमतुल्लाह अलैह की तकरीर है. And one very effective bayan in regards to performing Salah is the bayan of the Shah Ahmad Shaheed Rahmatullah Alayhi, who is actually the author of this kitab. That his bayan on how to perform Salah is a very effective bayan. जो अरसा हुआ अनवार सलाह के नाम से तबाह होकर अब नायाब हो चुकी. For some time now, this booklet was printed and it was termed Anwaar Salah. And later on, this was now out of print. What we say became extinct. That now this kitab could no longer be found. इसको देखकर खुद बंदा का और दीगर अहबाब का तकाजा हुआ कि इसको दोबारा तबाह कराया जाए. Now looking at that, this servant, the person that wrote this kitab, that after it was out of print, it was not available any longer, his name is Sufi Iqbal. He is a Khalifa of the Shaykh al-Hadith, Mohammed Saheb rahmatullahi alayhi. So he said that looking at this, that this kitab is no longer found. He said that the desire came into my heart and other associates also, that this kitab should be reprinted. It should be printed again for the second time, because we can't find this kitab anymore. It's such a good, valuable kitab. कि इस मुख्तसर रिसाला को जिसने भी पढ़ा बे इख्तियार अश कर उठा. That this little booklet, small booklet, whoever read it, they were amazed, they were astonished. कि Subhanallah, क्या namaz है. They were astonished. Allahu Akbar, what is namaz? That what a great ni'mat of Allah Ta'ala Salah is. क्या हाल है कुर्रतु ऐनी फी सलाह, पूरी मिसाल है. That what is the condition of namaz. And the perfect and complete example is what Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, that the coolness of my eyes is in Salah. That really, if a person performs salah, he needs a little bit of effort. But if he gets it right and he performs salah properly, then see the enjoyment that a person will get in salah. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, every occasion there was salah for him. Whether there was a storm outside, it was salah. Whether it was darkness of the night, there was salah. Any problem, salah. So everything Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam went towards salah. There was a solar eclipse, salah. There is a lunar eclipse, there is salah. There's no water, salatul istisqa, they will read salah. For everything is salah. You need something in your life. You're not sure, should I do this, shouldn't I do this? Salatul istikhara is there. So for every need there was salah. और इसके मुताला से हर नमाजी कुछ फायदा जरूर होता है. And by studying this booklet, every namazi will attain some benefit. You'll see by already reading the booklet, we will attain some benefit from it. And when a person, like say for example, we're studying now a little bit of Anwaar Salah. So when we go to perform Zohar Salah, now a person should try. What we learned here, we should try and concentrate a little more in our Salah. So gradually we find that a person, his concentration span will start increasing gradually, little by little, and will be able to perform a perfect Salah. It is coming later on what is actually concentration in Salah, that is also coming. लेकिन यह भी जाहिर है कि महज मुताला से हर कोई खुद ऐसी नमाज अदा करने पर कादिर नहीं हो सकता जब तक किसी खास तरबियत से इसकी मश्क न करे. And also this we should understand that just by studying a kitab, a person can't read a perfect namaz. Just by you study a kitab, a booklet, you won't be. Otherwise, everyone would have been reading a perfect namaz. They would just pick up a booklet, read the booklet, and I'm able to read a perfect namaz. He said, as long as a person does not practice upon this, and he does not go through some nurturing of it, that how it should be done, until then a person won't get a proper and a perfect namaz. You'll have to go through some practice. Somebody will have to guide you how it is done. Then a person will be able to perform this correct salah. क्योंकि सआदतों के हुसूल में आदतुल्लाह इस तरह जारी है कि कसब और मेहनत करनी पड़ती है. Because in attaining some fortune, attaining something that's valuable, the sunnat of Allah Ta'ala, the way of Allah Ta'ala is that a person first he goes through some difficulty in his life. And when he goes through difficulty, then Allah Ta'ala blesses a person. That's why इसी तरह जारी है कि कसब और मेहनत करनी पड़ती है. A person has to make effort first. When he makes the effort, फिर इस पर अताए वहाबी तौर पर होती है. When he makes the effort, then Allah Ta'ala gives it to a person. But Allah Ta'ala also wants to see that we got the desire within us. A person, he wants to learn, he wants to make the effort, he wants to reach me. Then Allah Ta'ala blesses a person, Allah Ta'ala opens the way for a person. One Sahabi, he read namaz, and he came, after he performed salah, he came to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Salli fa innaka lam tusalli. Go read your namaz again. Your namaz was not right. You haven't read namaz. He went again, he read namaz. He came back, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told him again, Salli fa innaka lam tusalli. Go read again, your namaz wasn't right. He went again, he read his namaz. Third time he came, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told him the same thing, namaz not right. Go and read your namaz again. So he said, Ya Rasulullah, teach me how to read namaz. When he said, teach me, now Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, okay, come, I will teach you now how to perform a perfect namaz. And then salah was taught to that person. But Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam could have taught him the first time. Why did he tell him, go and read your namaz again without teaching him? Because the desire was not there. He didn't say, teach me, O Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. When the desire is there, when a person is prepared to make the effort, now Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, now we should teach the person. So that desire must be within a person. In Allah Ta'ala's system also, the desire must be there. He makes the effort. Then Allah opens the way. Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, Allah Ta'ala made him a great imam. That today every religion in the world, they consider Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam as their Nabi. The Jews also, they say Ibrahim alayhi salam is our Nabi. The Christians, they say Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam is our Nabi. The Mushrikeen used to also say the same thing. All say, we are the followers of Ibrahim alayhi salam. But Allah Ta'ala says he was not. Ma kana Ibrahim Yahudiya wala Nasraniya. وَلَكِنْ كَانَ حَنِيفًا مُسْلِمًا. He was not a Jew, he was not a Christian, he was a Muslim, Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. He didn't ascribe any partners unto Allah wa ta'ala. So Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, Allah Ta'ala says that first he went through so many tests. وَإِذِ ابْتَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ رَبُّهُ بِكَلِمَاتٍ فَأَتَمَّهُنْ. That when the Rabb of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, he put him through various tests, Ibrahim alayhi salam. And he passed all those tests. See, he went through difficulty. All those tests he went through. When he went through all that, what Allah said? قَالَ إِنِّي جَاعِلُكَ لِلنَّاسِ إِمَامًا. I will make you an imam for mankind. So the sunnat of Allah, the way of Allah is, first a person goes through difficulty. When he goes through difficulty, now Allah Ta'ala blesses that person. Allah Ta'ala gives that person. So namaz also, first we have to make a little bit of effort, learn how to perform salah. We have to make an effort in trying to get that concentration in salah. If the concentration moves, quickly bring it back again in salah. We make that effort for a short while, then see automatically it will just flow for a person. Now every time he says Allahu Akbar, finish. Now he is concentrating in his salah. चुनाचे अल्लाह ताला जल्ल शानुहु की रहमत अगरचे किसी इल्लत व सबब के मोहताज नहीं, even though Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala, for him to shower his mercy on anyone, Allah ta'ala is not in need of any reason that you make an effort and then I'm going to give you. No, Allah ta'ala is not in need of that. يَخْتَصُّ بِرَحْمَتِهِ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. Quran, Allah ta'ala says, Allah selects, Allah chooses whomsoever Allah ta'ala wishes. Allah ta'ala wants to give it to somebody, Allah ta'ala gives it to that person. Without effort also Allah ta'ala can give it. But generally the way is that you have to make an effort for a person to make his islah, to correct himself from all the illnesses of the heart, whether it is anger, whether it is pride, whether a person is unable to protect his gazes, whatever it is, there also a person has to make effort. Our Masaa'il say that 99% is perspiration. 99% perspiration. You must make an effort. The effort must come from your side. And 1% is inspiration. 1%, whoever is the sheikh, whoever is the spiritual guide, he will inspire you. He will tell you what to do. So 1% comes from him. But 99% comes from the person that wants to reach Allah Ta'ala. You make an effort, you will reach Allah Ta'ala. So the same here. Lekin inna rahmatallahi qareebum minal muhsinin bi farman ilahi hai. So Allah Ta'ala can choose whomsoever He wishes. But Allah Ta'ala also says that the rahmat and the mercy of Allah is close to those people that do good deeds. When you will do good deed, it's an effort to do good deed. So when you will do the good deed, then Allah Ta'ala will shower His rahmat, Allah Ta'ala will shower His mercy upon you. लिहाजा हम हज़रत सैयद साहब क़द्दस सिर्रुहुल अज़ीज़ की तकरीर दिल पजीर की दिल में जमाने और अमल में लाने के लिए दर्ज झेल 5 असबाब के तौर पर तहरीर करते हैं. Now Sufi Iqbal, before starting the kitab of Hazrat Shah Ahmad Shaheed Rahmatullah Alayhi, he says that before coming to the actual talk of Hazrat Shah Ahmad Shaheed Rahmatullah Alayhi, for making amal upon this, to bring this into our hearts, he says that will bring 5 points first. And before studying the actual bayan, we have to go through these 5 points. Then you will be able to act upon the advice of Hazrat Shah Ahmad Shaheed Rahmatullah Alayhi, and you will be able to perform a correct salah. So this he terms as Noor. Every lesson that he brought these 5 points, he will say Noor Awwal, Noor Dom. So point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4, point 5. Noor Awwal. The first point. इस मश्क का फ़ायदा सिर्फ उन्हीं सालिकीन को होगा कि जो जिक्र व शुगल के तरीक़ को बाज़ाब्ता इख्तियार कर चुके हैं. He said, who's going to benefit from this exercise that we're going to do, this bayan of the Shah Ahmad Shaheed Rahmatullah Alayhi? Who's going to benefit from this? He said, that person, that salik, that person that is treading the path to Allah. We all treading the path, we want Allah, that is why we are here. So that person that is treading the path to Allah Ta'ala, who has formally done a cause on dhikr. So what we understand, that dhikr of Allah Ta'ala is so great, that this will help us attain concentration in salah. Zikr holds a very, very important role in various aspects. So even in concentration in salah, the zikr of Allah Ta'ala plays a very, very vital and a very important role. और इनको किसी दर्जा में मलक याददाश्त हासिल हो चुका है. And that person that has got now the quality of concentration because of making so much of zikr of Allah Ta'ala, that person, he will benefit from this bayan. वो इस मलका से अपने नमाजों को बारूह बना सकते हैं. Now, after making zikr, and he got the quality of concentration, because through zikr Allah Ta'ala blessed him with that concentration. This person can now bring ruh and bring life into his namaz. और नमाज के ज़रिए से वो अपनी बातिनी मदारिज में बहुत तरक्की कर सकते हैं. And through namaz now, a person, he can progress spiritually and reach Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Through that namaz now, a person, he will reach Allah Ta'ala, he will progress now spiritually. But how did he get there? He had to get there through the zikr of Allah Ta'ala. Through zikr, he got concentration. Through concentration, he started performing a perfect salah. And when he started performing a perfect salah, now a person will reach Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala very, very quickly. Like for example, a person, he's got an aeroplane. He's got a lot of money, so he bought an aeroplane. Now the aeroplane that he got, he wants to use it, but he doesn't know how to fly an aeroplane. So it's useless. He wasted his money buying the aeroplane. So many wealthy people, they have aeroplanes. So what they do, they get a pilot, they hire a pilot. And how much the pilot charges? Approximately about 8,000 rands a day to fly that plane for you. It takes you from here to there, wherever it is. 8,000 rand a day they charge to fly that plane. But that person, he got such a powerful tool. He can get from point A to point B normally, which takes 5-6 hours. In 1 hour he's there because he got a plane. But he doesn't know how to use it. So he's not going to progress. But if he had to do the course of how to fly an aeroplane, and then he uses the aeroplane, how far doesn't that person go? Exactly the same way. We got namaz, a very, very great bounty of Allah Ta'ala. But if we don't do it properly, we're not getting the results that we want. And if we only learn how to read this namaz properly, a person, he will become the beloved of Allah. He will reach Allah Ta'ala in no time. Just one thing comes right in our life, everything else will just fall into place. So a person, he will progress and he spiritually he will reach Allah Ta'ala. जो तरीक़े नबूवत से तरक्की करने के मुख्तलिफ ज़राई में से एक अहम ज़रिया है. That in the path of nubuwat, namaz is a very important means from the various means of progressing and reaching Allah. There are various ways of reaching Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. But one of the most effective way of reaching Allah Ta'ala is that a person performs a correct namaz. Once you read that correct namaz, you will see how quickly you will reach Allah. वरना बेरूह नमाज तो न तरीक़े विलायत में मुअस्सिर है न तरीक़े नबूवत में मुअतबर है. Otherwise, if a person reads a namaz that doesn't have life, then it won't even help you in becoming the friend of Allah, because that namaz got no life. You're just doing the outside actions of namaz, the standing, ruku, sajda, and you're finishing namaz and you're going. But there was no life in that namaz. So it won't help you in becoming the friend of Allah. And in the path of nubuwat also, such a namaz holds no value whatsoever. If you want value in your namaz, that namaz must have life in it. Yahi hal tariq nubuwat ke dusre a'mal. And this is the same condition of all other actions in the path of nubuwat. That if you want to benefit from other actions also, then it must have life. Mathalan, tilawat Quran Pak. If you want to benefit from the Quran Sharif also is so great, the kalam of Allah. But if you want to benefit from Quran, your recitation must have life in it. Not that a person is just reading the words and he is gone. That recitation, it must be done correctly with concentration. You must understand the Quran Sharif. That will have an effect. Jihad, tabligh, waghaira, all this, making jihad in the path of Allah, making tabligh, all this. If it's got life, then you will reach somewhere. But if there's no life, a person won't get anywhere. और जो हजरात इन आमाल में रूह पैदा करके तरक्की मदारिज के ख्वाह हो, and those people that create, that bring this life in all the actions, and they are desirous to progress in the stages, इनके लिए ज़रूरी है कि वो पहले ज़िक्र व शुगल के तरीक़ को इख्तियार करके अपने क़ल्ब की इस्लाह करें. It is necessary for them that they must do a course on zikrullah, and they must correct their heart, they must cleanse their heart. So if you want this root to come if in all these actions, first go to zikrullah. Start with zikr of Allah Ta'ala. When the zikr of Allah Ta'ala comes, the heart is going to be corrected. When the heart is going to be corrected, now a person will be able to progress. क्योंकि आमाल के बाद रूह होने का मदार कल्ब की इस्लाह पर है. For ruh, for life to come in your amal, this is all based on the correctness of the heart. For life to come in your amal, what you need your heart to be corrected. And how will this happen? जो किसी शेख कामिल की तरबियत और निगरानी में जिक्र व शुगल इख्तियार करने से ही होती है. And this will happen by remaining with a sheikh kamil, a sheikh that is already perfect, and he under his supervision, under his nurturing. Now you make the zikr of Allah. What's going to happen? The heart is going to be cleansed. And when the heart is going to be cleansed, now you will start progressing. So bottom line is, a person has to do a cause in the zikr of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala for him to bring life in any amal of his, whether it is salah, whether it is tilawat, whether it is jihad, whether it is tabligh. चुनांचे ये मजमून सैकड़ों अहादीस में है. This subject matter is in various ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Likulli shay'in thiqalatun wa thiqalatul qulubi dhikrullah," that for everything there is a polish. For everything there is a polish, and the polish of the heart is the zikr of Allah Ta'ala. When the heart has been polished with the zikr of Allah, and the heart has been corrected, the heart is now shining. Now see, when a person will start his salah will have a different, it will be completely different altogether. यहाँ एक मुगालता आम तौर पर पाया जाता है. He said, here generally people make one mistake. What is the mistake they make? बाज़ अहबाब क़ल्ब के इस्लाह के लिए ज़िक्रुल्लाह के बजाय ज़ाहिरी आमाल की इस्लाह पर जोर देते हैं. That some of our friends, some of our beloveds, that instead of rectifying and correcting the heart with the zikr of Allah Ta'ala, they emphasize on the outward, on the outward actions. For example, they will want to make sure that my standing posture must be in order, my ruku must be in order, my sajda must be in order. That is also important. That is what is khudu. So that also has to be in order. But they emphasize on this. But the heart hasn't been corrected. So when the heart is not corrected, how are you going to get your ruh, how are you going to get life in your salah? So the actual thing is the correction of the heart. हालांकि फराइज के अलावा पहले कल्ब की इस्लाह का फिक्र ज़रूरी है. That besides your faraz, fasting, namaz, zakat, hajj, besides the farais, it is necessary for a person to correct the heart. But today, where do you find, how many people you find actually worrying about correcting the heart, getting rid of all the illnesses of the heart? That is why today there's so much of problems in the world. Really, if the heart of a person is corrected, if a husband and wife, they have a problem in the house, the husband will humble himself. He said, never mind, she's upset today, let her say what she wants. But the husband says, no, I'm going to show her a point today. And the wife says, no, I'll show him a point today. Why? Because that humbleness is not there. So when the humbleness is not there, when each other is showing each other the point, where are we going to end up? We're going to end up with talaq. Whereas if the husband just kept quiet at that time, he said, never mind, let her speak. She's got the right, she does so much for me, let her speak today. And he laughs it off, he lets her speak. Then finish, we got no problem whatsoever. Or if it's the other way around, the husband is upset. And sometimes it is his turn, now he wants to say something. And the wife at that time, she keeps quiet. She said, leave him, let him say what he wants. What's there? That's my husband, he does so much for me. Finish, we got no problem. Two people, two brothers. One is, he wants to show that, no, what I'm saying is right. And the other one, he wants to show, he wants to show what I'm saying is right. So both of them got pride. Now when both got pride, each one wants to emphasize and show his point. What's going to happen? You're going to end up with a clash here. Then somebody is either going to get hurt, somebody is going to fight with one another, or Allah knows best what can happen. Sometimes a person has got anger, and in that anger now that fight started. And in that fight what happens? One person takes out a firearm, and then he blows the firearm. One man is in the qabr, one man is in the jail. Why? Because the heart is not right. So everything is based on the heart, that the heart needs to be corrected. So that's why he says, after your farais, after namaz, after fasting, after zakat, after hajj, what is most important? Go and get your heart corrected. A person has to stay in the company of pious people for this to happen. क्योंकि हदीस पाक में कल्ब की इस्लाह को अमाल की इस्लाह का जरिया फरमाया गया है. In the hadith it is mentioned that if your heart will be corrected, this is the means of your amal being corrected. If your heart comes right, everything in your life will come right, namaz will come right, your fasting will come right, everything will come right. जैसा कि हदीस पाक में है, it's mentioned in the hadith, إِنَّ فِي الْجَسَدِ لَمُضْغَةً, that in the body of a person there's a piece of flesh. إِذَا صَلُحَتْ صَلُحَ الْجَسَدُ كُلُّ. If this piece of flesh is correct, the entire body of a person thereafter will be corrected. Everything in a person's life will come correct. His eyes will be under control. He won't be looking at haram. A person, his tongue will be in control. He won't say anything that's wrong. He won't make ghibat about another person. Why? The heart is in order now. He won't be listening to ghibat. If there's ghibat taking place somewhere, he'll get up and walk away. Haji Ahmad Nakhuda Saheb, rahmatullah alayh, he was in the Jamiat offices of India. And whilst he was there, I think Maulana Abbas Ali Saheb of Springs, he was there. And I think Maulana Abdul Hamid Saheb was there. So one person that was sitting in the office, he was on the phone and he was making ghibat. So Maulana got up, he told him, you know what, stop it. Stop, don't make ghibat. See, when the heart is correct, you'll have the courage to stand up and speak also. So he stood up, he said, don't make ghibat. Stop the ghibat. That person didn't listen. He carried on making ghibat. Haji Saheb told Maulana Abbas Ali and I think Muhammad Rami Saheb, whoever was there, I can't recall exactly, he told him, come, stand outside. When it's our turn to go in, we'll go in. But it's haram for us to listen to this ghibat also. So don't sit here. See, when will this happen? When the heart of a person is in order. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that when this heart is correct, the entire body will be correct. وَإِذَا فَسَدَتْ فَسَدَ الْجَسَدُ كُلُّ. And when the heart is corrupt, then the entire body of a person will be corrupt. So this is the first point that he brought, that if you want to benefit from this bayan and you want to get your namaz right, correct your heart. And what is the way of correcting the heart? Stay in the company of Masaa'il and do a cause of zikrullah. When you do that, your heart will be corrected. When your heart will be corrected, there will be life now in your namaz, in your tilawat, in your tabligh, in your jihad. In everything that you do, there's going to be life. That's the first point. Noor dom. नमाज सीखने में जो कोशिश और मुजाहदा करना होगा, इसमें नीयत को खालिस करे कि मैं अल्लाह को राज़ी करने के लिए तामील हुक्म में अपनी नमाज में कमाल पैदा करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ. Number 2, that this effort, this sacrifice that you're making to learn how to read a proper namaz, we are learning how to read a proper namaz. So this effort, this sacrifice that we're making to learn how to read a proper namaz, a person should have a pure niyyat that why am I doing this? I am doing this to please Allah Ta'ala, to act on the command of Allah. The command of Allah is to read namaz. So I am now doing this to please Allah, to act upon the command of Allah Ta'ala. I am making this effort so that I am able to read a perfect namaz for Allah Ta'ala. So why are we doing this? Not to show anyone that, you know what, look at the namaz that I'm reading. Or see, I learned how to read namaz. Your namaz is not right. So we don't look down upon anyone. Allah give us the tawfiq. We learned how to read a proper namaz. Our niyat is, Allah, we did it for you. Allah, we want to act upon your command of performing salah in a perfect way, in a way that you will be happy with us, in a way that you will be pleased with us. That is why we are doing this. Digar koi baat, mahwiyat wa istighraq wa ghaira, maqsad na ho. Other things, people that perform salah so that in the salah, they totally absorbed in the salah. That from the beginning right to the end, the thought doesn't even move a little bit. They totally absorbed in the salah. Many people learn namaz to read namaz in that way. That shouldn't be the niyat. If a person reaches that stage, Allah gives it to him. Alhamdulillah, Allah Ta'ala has given him from His side. But our niyat to learn how to correct salah is not so that we're able to read such a namaz that from the beginning to the end, we just totally absorb in salah and nothing else. No, that is not the objective. The objective is to please Allah Ta'ala and read a perfect salah. That is what our objective is. So whatever we're doing is to please Allah. And then if Allah gives us that namaz, after making effort, that when the moment you commence your salah, there's no disturbance. Alhamdulillah, that's nurun ala nur. Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he was once struck with the arrow. And they said, now we need to take out the arrow. How are we going to take it out? They said, leave him. They couldn't take it out. Let him start salah. And the moment he started salah, they went and they pulled out the arrow. He didn't even know that the arrow has been. See, that is that absorption. But who gave it to him? Allah Ta'ala gave it to him. The intention must be Allah Ta'ala. But Allah gives him that type of a salah, alhamdulillah. So that is the second point. The third point, we'll just do a little bit of the third point. Khushu wa khudu or huzur qalb wali namaz hi bahu hai. That is salah that has concentration, devotion, where the heart of a person is in salah. That is the salah of life. That must be concentration, devotion, and your heart must be in that salah. Magar khushu or huzu se murad ikhtiyari khushu hai. But when we saying that there must be concentration and devotion, what is meant by this khushu? It means that khushu which is within your ability, not which is out of your ability. To get a salah of complete absorption, that is not in our ability. We can't do that. What is within our ability, that is what we require to do. And what is that? Yani namaz ke faraiz, wajibat, sunan or mustahabbat ki adayegi ka itminan or hosh se ihtimam karna. That we pay attention in fulfilling the faraz of namaz. That is why we have to know what is all this we're doing in Besti Zewar, what is the requisites of salah, faraz in namaz, sunnats in namaz will do. A person needs to know all this. What is faraz, what is wajib, what is sunnat, what is mustahab. So the khushu that is within our ability is to fulfill the faraiz, is to fulfill the wajibat, to fulfill the mustahabbat. All this must be done with complete ease and we should give importance to this. Or dil ko qasdan kisi dusri taraf mutawajjih na karna. And we shouldn't intentionally turn the heart somewhere else. Intentionally, we don't start thinking about something in salah. That is what is referred to as khushu. Khushu is fulfilling the faraz, wajibat, mustahabbat, do everything with ease and correctly. And intentionally, don't bring some thought in namaz. Some thought that is not there, now you start thinking about it intentionally. This is what is khushu. Agar khud bakhud dunyawi khayal aa jaye, balke बेशुमार वसाविस भी आए लेकिन नमाजी अपने क़स्द आगे आने वाले असबाब में मशगूल रहे. If a person automatically some thoughts of dunya come to him or even unlimited thought come, but he didn't bring it in namaz, it just came automatically, it came into his mind. But the namazi, the person who has performed salah, he doesn't worry about the thoughts. He thinks of what is ahead. Now ahead I'll have to read the surah, next I'll have to make ruku. He thinks of what I have to do ahead and he just continues in that line. So ye halat namaz ke baad wo hone ke munafi nahi. Then this condition is not against performing a salah of life and soul. That this salah also is a good salah, a salah of concentration. As long as it doesn't affect a person, he just continues thinking, right, next I have to do this in namaz, thereafter I have to do this in namaz. So just continue thinking what I have to do ahead in namaz. That will be considered as a salah of concentration and devotion. We'll continue from here, inshallah. Allahu Akbar, Allah.